Hey everyone, and welcome to The Explainer. So today we're totally geeking out over an absolutely massive session from Justin Results French. This is straight from his recent Revenue Ronin Community Tactical Tuesday session, and honestly, the focus is something every single business builder needs to hear right now. We're talking about building pipelines that actually convert. And look, we're not just throwing theory around today, we're getting into real data, real community wins, and a complete paradigm shift that literally separates the businesses that are thriving from the ones that are just, spinning their wheels.
All right, let's just jump right in. I want you to really ask yourself this right now. How are you filling your pipeline? Are you just collecting this massive list of names and emails, kind of hoping the law of averages is going to eventually work in your favor? Or are you meticulously building a true pipeline of qualified, aligned prospects? Because let me tell you, there's a massive difference between the two. And pretending they're the same thing, yeah, that's a really, really expensive mistake.
And that right there brings us to this huge paradigm shift. On one side of the ring, we've got traditional, high-volume spray-and-pray lead gen, and all it really does is fill a list. It gives you this total false sense of security, because hey, your CRM looks full, right? But on the flip side, we have demand generation. Demand generation fills a pipeline that actually converts. Justin made this crystal clear in his session. Lead generation and demand generation are fundamentally not the same strategy. Making that shift from simply catching leads to actively generating demand, that's the game changer you need for a truly healthy business. Let's move on to Section 1. Compatibility is a qualifier. Okay, so this brings us to a concept that might ruffle a few feathers, but it's absolutely critical for your survival. Compatibility is not a luxury. Taking on literally whoever happens to say yes is just a recipe for a massive headache down the line. And that leads straight into one of my favorite takeaways from the whole session. Volume without alignment is just noise. Let that sink in. If you're blasting out automated outreach without a real compelling offer that actually aligns with the person on the other end, you're destined to fail. You're just adding to the digital spam that we all ignore anyway. Alignment absolutely has to come before volume, period.
And to put this into perspective, there is real-world pain behind this $7,000 figure. During the session, they shared a proof point about a $7,000 a month client relationship that was totally lost back in January. And why? It wasn't a lack of skill. It wasn't a bad product. It was lost simply due to compatibility misalignment. A misaligned client will drain so much more of your time, your energy, and your lost referral quality than a slow sales month ever will.
All right, Section 2. Validate manually before automating.
So how do we actually fix this whole volume and alignment problem? Well, we follow this sequencing framework they hammered on in the session. People, then process, then systems. Before you even think about touching an automated nurture sequence or, firing up some mass email tool, you have got to prove the outcome works by hand first. Track the actual calls booked. Track the deals closed. Please don't just track the vanity metric of leads generated, because if you can't close a deal manually with high-touch, personalized effort, automating that same broken process is really just going to help you fail faster and a whole lot louder.
Moving into Section 3, real-world community wins.
Now, don't just take my word for it. Let's look at how this actually plays out when people roll up their sleeves. The Revenue Ronins are actively doing this in their 90-day sprints. Take Ben. He manually repositioned his LinkedIn and X titles to attract non-technical founders. And the result? He generated inbound interest within hours and closed a call in under 10 minutes using Bordy AI. That is wild. Then there's Christelle. She leveraged a single existing nonprofit client relationship into this massive multi-organizational referral pipeline just by tapping into that client's board network. And Famous has been running a weekly 24-hour X Spaces marathon for a year and a half, and now he's approaching 100 Buy Me a Coffee supporters. Notice something here? These aren't automated hacks. This is manual validation, working existing networks, and doing the real work to get tangible results.
While we're talking about putting in the hard work, there was this really inspiring moment in the session with community members Katie and Yvonne. They both recently returned to the community after dealing with some pretty tough health stretches. Katie shared how having a solid foundation philosophy literally kept her venture alive during a super hard season. And Yvonne backed that right up. The takeaway here? Consistency compounds, even after a pause. When you build a solid business foundation and get that operational rhythm going, your business can absolutely weather the storms of life.
Okay, let's get to the good stuff. Section 4, your tactical execution playbook.
We've covered the theory, we've seen the real-world wins, so now it's time for the concrete, actionable homework from Justin's session that you can go implement today. During the call, Judas broke down a prospecting framework, adapting Chet Holmes' classic strategy live for everyone. Here's how it goes. Step 1, start with your Dream 100 list. Step 2,
narrow that down to a crazy hyper-targeted Dream 33 list. And step 3, execute an omni-channel follow-up approach, meaning you don't just send one message and cross your fingers. You show up where they are across multiple channels. Trust me, this hyper-targeted narrow list will wildly outperform any spray-and-pray email blast you could ever buy.
So here is your hit list. 5 key teachings to execute right now. Number 1, prove your conversions manually first. Number 2, audit your current client roster for compatibility, not just revenue. Actually fire the misaligned ones. Number 3, map your own board network equivalent. Find that one relationship that can open 5 new doors, just like Christelle did. Number 4, build that Dream 33 list of highly qualified targets. And number 5, reposition your professional titles on LinkedIn and X right now. Make them speak directly to the exact targets you want to attract, just like Ben did for his 10-minute close. To wrap things up, Justin closed this Tactical Tuesday session with some really powerful words about legacy. He said, "At the end of our lives, we will ask ourselves 4 simple questions. Did I live? Did I love? Did I matter? Did I make a difference?" He urged everyone to just keep making a difference. Build your mind, your body, your business, and your bank account. Stay healthy, stay hungry, stay humble. Because honestly, at the end of the day, all of these tactical executions we just talked about, they're in service to something so much bigger.
Which brings us to our final thought for today. Knowing absolutely everything we just covered about demand generation versus lead generation, about the power of manual validation and true alignment, what are you going to do next? Like, will you put in the focused, disciplined work to build a legacy that actually matters? Or are you going to go back to taking shortcuts and just building another list? The choice is entirely up to you. Thanks so much for hanging out with me on this explainer, and we'll catch you next time.